You got me begging for your head spinner. I want it, let's get loud. 'Cause I can't fight the feeling of your tongue twister. I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it.
Get greasy. Wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tied up in a tongue twister. Wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tied up in a tongue twister.
I wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tied up in a tongue twister. I wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tied up in a tongue twister.
Yeah, I'm on that Atkins diet. I need meat or start a riot. Twilight wanna sink my teeth in. So fine, girl, I must be dreaming. Grade A, you're a dime with an ass. Shaking it right made me forget my past. Now move aside, cause I got that cash. Rich guys first, nice guys last.
I'm a couple in and you got me talking. It's about time that my lips start walking. I wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tell you what, so I can be your mister. I'm seeing double like sister, sister. Baby, get real close, cause I wanna kiss you. Now you wanna make my head drop, picture in your sweet spot. Gonna make your body go.
I want your tongue twister. You got me begging for your head spinner. I want it, let's get loud. 'Cause I can't fight the feeling of your tongue twister. I want your tongue twister. You got my body shaking, head spinner. I want it one more time. I can't find the words to say your tongue twister. I want it, I want it.
Wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tied up in a tongue twister. Wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tied up in a tongue twister.
I wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tied up in a tongue twister. I wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tied up in a tongue twister.
Baby girl, let's hit the road so I can put the cream on your a la mode. All night till you break a sweat. Now go and get your coat and a cigarette, yeah. I'll take you home. I'll make you moan. I'll take you home. I'll make you moan.
Wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tied up in a tongue twister. Come on, boy. I want your tongue twister. You got me begging for your head spinner. I want it, let's get loud. 'Cause I can't fight the feeling of your tongue twister. I want your tongue twister. You got my body shaking, head spinner. I want it one more time. I can't find the words to say your tongue twister. I want it, I want it.
Wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tied up in a tongue twister.
I wanna get you in a tongue twister. Tied up in a tongue twister.
This I love to piss you off. Something in my psychosis finds it a little hard. I always got good intentions.
Hi! It's a me! Aniwa! Nice to see you all again. First off, I apologize for not streaming yesterday like I said I would. So instead, I bumped it to today, and I'm gonna do art for a little bit today, I think. But I do just want to say real quick, sorry if you hear vacuum in the background. That is my mom steam cleaning. She has been steam cleaning for 2.5 weeks, pretty much straight. Poor woman has to deal with that. I mean, that must suck. I say that like it's not about to be me with my room. Anyways, I have a really important, a really cool project that I kind of tried to start it as a thing, like months and months ago, like last year. I tried to, make this, community like OC submissions, and basically the gist of this project was anybody could submit their characters. They could be OCs, they could be VTubers, they could be human, furry, pony, pretty much anything. And I would pick names at random and whoever won, I would make like a sketch of that person's character free of charge. So I want to bring that back, but here's the catch. I want to do it in a little bit of a different way. So basically, I think I want to open it. I want to open it to not just my Discord server, but also Twitter as a whole. Because, you know, some people, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to be able to see and aren't going to be able to participate if I only exclude it to my Discord server. So, I'm also going to open it up to anyone on my Twitter. I'm not entirely sure what the posts are going to look like, but it's going to be, I think I'm going to choose 1 week out of the month. In that week, I will just pick a couple different OCs at a time, and I will draw their character, whether it be, it could be any style that I feel like. It could be a colored sketch, it could be a render, it could be an emote, it could be any sort of, illustration that I feel. Now, pretty much the general rules that I want to do is, obviously, submit your OC. That is the first thing. It is not a requirement to follow me at all. It is not going to be a requirement in any way, shape, or form. Anybody is open to this, whether they follow me or not. So, there's that. I would love to know some lore and some information about the character that is being submitted, such as, you know, obviously, like, their name, their species, like, maybe their age, their personality, if they have any lore. I'd love to hear about that, because what I'm gonna do, with this art project is all of the characters that I draw. I'm basically gonna turn it into a time-lapse, in which I will also be doing voiceovers while in the time lapse, where basically I just get to describe the character and, you know, give the little person a shout out and, you know, talk about the lore and the character's personality, things that I really like about the design, possibly things that I think could maybe be improved, that kind of thing. So I've had this idea in my mind for a while now. What the fuck is this song? I don't know what I'm listening to. It's animation meme songs, I shouldn't be surprised. It's like a shitpost. But, yeah, that's what I want to do. I have wanted to give back to the community for a very long time. And with a lot of the VTuber community, there has been so much drama. There has been drama with one person in particular. I think it's been kind of milked at this point, so I prefer not to talk about it. But, I want to do something that is genuinely good to the community. I want to give back to the people that have supported me in the past and even in the present, people that still support me. I want to do something for you guys, and I want to do something to help bring up the community as a whole. I want to earn the title of that positive, good-hearted person. I don't just want to say, hey, these are the vibes. I go for comfy, cozy vibes. I want to earn that. I want to prove it. So that's kind of my whole thing. I am very excited for this. I think I might do it like the first of each month, which would give me a couple days to write up, to finalize the draft and stuff. I might not do it the first. Hold on. I hate Windows 11. I don't have a calendar. Why would you take away The calendar of all things. 2, 3, 4. It would literally be 4 days. So, okay, I don't think that's gonna work. It could work for the future, but this month, if I want to start it this month, that's not gonna work. So I might push it towards like, couple days after. So I want to give people the proper time to submit their characters. And, you know, obviously each time I, do this, I'll do a different tweet and a different, not even a different thing in my Discord. I'll set up my own thing in Discord, and people can just submit their characters whenever, and I'll just decide to, I'll just pick randomly. I could do a couple things where I choose like 2 people from the Discord and 2 people from Twitter. Start with that, see how that goes. So it's like 4 random people's characters a month. That seems like pretty good. It would help me a lot with also learning proper balance between like art and stuff, because I definitely struggle with deadlines. I don't know why, but I do. What the fuck? Hold on, I don't want to listen to this song. Pause and play. That's a cute one. Sorry, I got a drink for my work. We have a new seasonal drink. It's the pineapple dragon fruit. And it comes as like a lemonade, a sweet tea, or like a Sunjoy, or a frosted. Well, I got the lemonade. And that was just like straight syrup in my mouth. That was nasty. It's not terrible, it's just really tart. I like the frosted. I like the frosted lemonade variant. That one's really good. Why am I talking about food shit now all of a sudden? But yeah, that's pretty much what I kind of wanted to yap about. I wanted to, you know, hey, this is what I plan to do in the future, so look out for that. And, I don't even really require a ref sheet necessarily, as long as somebody can give me like a pretty good description, or even if they only have like AI references. While, you know, I'm one of those artists when it comes to art, I don't really like AI art, but if it's something for like, you have a character design in mind, and you don't really have the funds or the creative skill to create your own design, sometimes it's nice just to have something. I would definitely recommend in the future, like, you know, choosing to find, there's tons of low budget artists on like VGen and stuff that can do character designs. I've seen some for as low as like $30. So there's some on there that's pretty within budget. But yeah, I like also just taking ideas and seeing what I can create. But I think that's enough yapping for now. I could literally yap for hours. I think we're gonna move on to the next segment of the stream now that I've talked for about 15 minutes. It's pretty good. 15 minutes yapping. I got my yap out. Probably not. I am a chronic yapper, and so bear with me. But we will be moving on to the next segment, the majority segment of this stream, which is going to be art. And the question I'm struggling with right now. Oh my god, it's meow! Meow, 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 meow. This song is so annoying. There's like a 10-hour loop of it somewhere. I listened to 10 hours of this song once. I wanted to die. But anyways, do I want to draw today, Or do I want to do some more live 2D stuff? That is the question. Well, what did I leave off on live 2D? Is my question. And if I left off on a place that I want to continue right now, we'll do live 2D. But if I look at it, I'm like, oh, I left off on there? That's a no from me, dog. Now, using the alpha version. I know I'm using an alpha. Fair enough. It is very fair. Meow, 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 meow. I hate this song. I'm skipping it. Let's see. Let's see where I left off. Let's see. I think I started on the hair. Please. Rar. Oh. Yes, okay, so, we're working on live 2D. I just realized the next thing that I have to work on right now is the ears. The ears! Ah! We're working on the ears. Uh-oh. Bill! Get spooked! Anyways, let's just nest ourselves down here. Does my tail get in the way? Kinda, I think it does get in the way enough, I think. We'll put the tail down for now. Now, I don't remember how I rigged Leah's ears in the first place. So let's pull up the old reference here. Oh yeah, she's broken. Okay. Wolf. We have ear turn. I think I can make this more extreme. So ear turn L, ear turn R. Can close that. We can put that inside the mouth. Head angles. Name that tail anim, because that's the animation for the tail. We don't really mess with that. We'll just do it right here. Ears. So, our first thing we have is the ear turn L, which is -30 by 30. -30 by 30. Oh, you guys can't see this because I'm not streaming my whole screen. I don't know if I trust y'all to like stream the entire window, so my entire screen. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't have anything sus. Okay, so we have ear turn. We have ear rotation. It's also -30 by 30. Ear shit. Press X to doubt. What? What do you mean press X to doubt? I don't have anything weird. Like, not even my background is weird. Fine, you know what? You want me to fucking prove it? You want me to fucking prove it? Bruh. There you go. My entire screen. I think. Wait. There you go. There you go. My entire monitor. You saw my background. It's not sus. It's actually pretty adorable. Then we have ear physics. We have 2 ear physics. I'm probably gonna do more than 2. Do I want to do those as blend shapes? I think I'll try it as blend shapes. Do R1, R1, replicate. R3. Okay. So I have L1, 2, and 3, and then R1, 2, and 3. Why do I have angry enabled? I think that's all of it, yeah. So obviously in order to rig her ears, we need to be able to see her ears. Oh my god, so cute and fluffy. Actually, first things first, I think I need to rig the ears. Also, the ears need to appear over the back hair, I think. Oh, we have a hair strand out of place. Because the ears are looking kinda, Oh, I haven't even... I think I can just... Let me just get away with heavy meshing. L... Ear... XY... Copy that. Paste that into the ID. I don't know how well it'll correlate if I use the 3D motion, so I'm just not going to. I think we need to make it a little bit longer. Then make it a little bit shorter. Okay. Looked at it so much that it now just... Pull you out just a little bit more. Nah. And a little bit. Doo-doo. Push you in just a little. pull them out. I'm not gonna warp it too much because it's gonna be warped a lot on the actual ear physics. Okay, we're gonna synthesize the corners. Hope it looks good. We need that to attach to the head. Attach to the head. We're gonna pull that in some. Pull this out a little, I think. Pull this in a little. I'll come back to that later too, and mess with it more. Yeah. So ear rotation. How did I rig this? Ear turn. Okay. So we have the left ear, we have the left outer, we have the left inner. Okay. So we have the tip and the ear. This goes on the L ear. Outer. Okay, and then EL ear. Left. We're gonna give that its own mesh. Warp. And then L ear. Back. Because this is the back of the ear. Oh. Okay, this is a good song. Okay. So, when the ear turns left, this comes to the left, and that goes to the right. So, this ear opens up. Alright, We're gonna redo this. I don't like that. Gonna. I made it look so like so fluid. Well, let's start with that. And we'll come back to it. I'm gonna make this its own mesh too. Okay, and then we can do the fluff. I think it'll come in a little bit, but then it'll also come out this way and get like extra floofy, if you know what I mean. Okay, that's actually looking pretty solid, if I'm being honest. Now we have it going, you know, out like that. Now we have to make it going in like this. Is this? Oh, is this Doja? Yeah, I don't want to listen to Doja. I don't mind some of her songs, but I think sometimes it's just not personally my thing. Sometimes, you know. I hide the fluff. How does that look? How did they make? How did they do the fluff? I didn't move the fluff for this. Well, I think I definitely need to move it. Move it, and we're gonna squish it. What is that? What? I fucked up somewhere. Well, we're just gonna. That error doesn't exist. That art issue doesn't exist anymore. Mm. Spiny ear. Yes. Ear. Ear. Rotation. I could do a rotation deformer, but. What? 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 Bro. Create that time? Yeah, that's what I thought. No! I didn't. Hi, Tiliano! I just realized I fucked up. I was supposed to not do that on. Select. Change. Your turn L. There we go. Whoops. Supposed to do rotation. So the left is up, right? Towards. Yes. Oh, we can do a lot more motion than that. Come on now. Who am I, an amateur? Yes, 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 I am. surprise. Realized everyone is dumb. Everyone is dumb. Okay, obviously. Gotta. Gotta. Look at that. Look at that motion. Versus this. Just by surprise. I am gonna do some extended interpolation. I think I only need one. Yeah. La, 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 la. Everyone is dumb. La, 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 la. Everyone is dumb. Now, this is the fun part. One is dumb. How did I do the physics? This is important. Girl. Why would you do the physics? Girl. Past me. Girl. Why are you doing the physics on that? Why are you doing it like that?
The musical selections you're about to hear were first tape recorded and fed into a transmitter where they were beamed to Relay 2 spacecraft. As you listen to the musical selections, note the clarity and excellent stereophonic separation between the left and right channels, even after first.
Oh! Say that you love me, hold me. Love me, love me. Say that you love me, near me. That you love me, and love me. Say that you love me. Gotta floppa to the ears. Oh yeah, we need big floppas. I mean, she's not a big floppa, but we need big floppa here. She needs to big floppa. She needs that big ear energy. Okay, that's big flop of. Ba, 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 ba. I think I need to hide this to see. Okay. Now we take that. Oh, hold on. Oh! Let me redo that. Because I messed up.
Vem com DJ NP Size que ele é mó piranha. Vem com DJ Wizard que ele é mó piranhão. Ele te bota, soca, soca sem nem ter preocupação. Ele te bota, soca, 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 soca sem nem ter preocupação.
Okay, now obviously we need to fix this here. Let's hide the hair. Look at that.
Depois do bailão, você vai pra minha teta, é soca, 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 soca na buceta. Soca, 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 soca na buceta. Soca, 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 soca na buceta.
Even if it's gonna be hidden, you know. I still like making sure everything is somewhat flush.
Ele te bota, soca, soca sem nem ter preocupação. Ele te bota, soca, 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 soca sem nem ter preocupação. Ele te bota, soca, 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 soca sem nem ter preocupação. Ele te bota, soca, 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 soca sem nem ter preocupação.
Depois do bailão, você vai pra minha
Did I also did the ears right? Yes. Okay. Good. Good, 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 good. I mean, even if I didn't, obviously I'm going to anyways. Okay, so when it goes up, these ear floofs, they're gonna rotate in a little bit, and they're gonna come in like this. And then this, they're gonna come out, down. And then obviously we gotta make the floof come down and out. Floof comes up, in. Like that! That is number one. Oh, I love it. It's only the first physic. Ah! Physic number 2. This is hyper pop. Select up that much. And like that same-ish amount down. Your fluff will once again, except this time, about that much. And then, and that much will come out, around, and out. And now, ah, uh, oh no. Uh, oh no. I'm thinking, I might have to redo the physics from scratch. Not these, but yeah, I have to turn blend shape off. I gotta turn the blend shape off on all of these. Obviously, you know, with turning the blend shape off, it does give me a little more work. But I should have done it that way in the first place, honestly. I don't know why I didn't. I think I was just trying to cut corners. But it's fine. Nice. I got home from work a couple hours ago and I said I was gonna stream when I got home from work. I didn't charge my iPhone. I'm gonna wait a little bit. Because I left work early because I was having some more little medical hiccups. So, fun stuff. I am okay, but, you know, it does get a little frustrating. It's like, I'm sorry, coworkers. And they're like, it's fine, don't worry about it. I'm like, I don't feel like it's fine. They're like, it's fine, it's okay. It's not okay. It's fine though. Let me rotate a little bit. Left literally too. Got a bad burn on my pinky. Ah, oh, man! That sucks. Ah, you gotta be careful, man. sound just like my poor boyfriend. He's always burning himself somehow, and I'm like, how did you do that? You're not even near anything hot. It's like, I don't know. How did you hurt yourself? I don't remember. The fuck? I can't really say shit because I do the same shit. I also hurt myself and forget where or how I hurt myself. Okay. This goes in the ear, out the ear, in, out, in, out, in, out. I like it. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Alright. It's time to get serious. Clumsy as hell and dehydrated. It's a recipe for disaster. Oh, absolutely. I'm not that clumsy. Well, except for the one time I almost crushed myself in the work freezer with like 200 to 300 pounds of frozen chicken. That was the last time I was ever allowed to put truck away, actually. Ah. Got this phone. Don't say I control, 'cause it's magic in my bones. Feeling in my soul. It's magic in my bones. Ah! Why? What is causing that to be? Patience. It's entertaining. Magic in my bones. There's magic in my bones. In my bones. Pull this out a little bit. This is magic in my bones. I got this feeling in my soul. Having control. Magic in my bones. My mind. There goes my mind. Goes my mind. There goes my mind. Magic in my bones. Okay, we can push that extreme. Oh yeah. Cut my hair now. No. Play along. You in my sights. I'll get you on your knees. That I could be. I'll get you. Save me. I won't hear you say sorry. Hate the way I love you, hate the way I love with Ain't the kind of fell in love with you. We're just really trying to push the extremes here, you know? Sights. Say to me, I'll get you. Hey guys, you think this ear's broken? Do you think your ear's broken? Oh my god, me and my coworkers today, one of my coworkers, we were going around singing happy, 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 happy. I don't think ears are supposed to bend like that, so we'll just tuck. When in doubt, tuck. That's what the drag queens do anyways. Alright, that was really bad. Oh yeah, I didn't. Okay. Let's yoink this in, yoink this up. Yoink this out. Yoink this down. Like this in, up, out, down. Should add it as a sound alert. I should. This F Snuffy? Yeah. S-U, F-F-Y. Shake it, bake it, shake it right. S-N-U, F-F-Y. This Snuffy. I know my animation memes. F-F-Y, shake it, get right. You, F-F-Y. Leah, what happened to your ear? We're gonna make a lot of adjustments here. I know none of it is ever even gonna show because of the ear fluff, but I know it's there. So I can at least try to flush it out a little bit. F-F-Y. F-F-Y. Here goes Yoinky Splunky. Oh yeah. Oh, I think. Yeah, let me.
Why is my pussy wet?
Ah! I'm streaming!
Oh shit.
Because I gave her a bath? Dude! Dude! Oh my god.
How'd this one go?
I didn't bathe him.
Fair enough. That's one way to enter into a stream.
Cackling! I gave the cats a bath! I swear that's all that happened. I just gave the cats a bath. Why am my voice cracking? Kitty cat, kitty cat, cat. Got that. Kitty cat, cat. Cat that. Got that. Got, gotta. Got kitty cat, cat. Gotta. Got kitty cat, cat. Got that. Got kitty cat, cat. Gotta. Got kitty cat, cat. Gotta. Obviously, I don't know the lyrics to the song because it's fucking Russian. But I know Kitty Cat. Partially in Russian. What the fuck? I tell you, animation meme songs are absolutely insanity. Ooh, what is this? Weekend. Oops. Oh! That's alarm! Hey, 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 that's alarm! Hey, 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 that's alarm! I like this song. Hey, 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 that's alarm! Hey, 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 that's alarm! Hey, hey, heck? Didn't work that time. Oh. Hey, 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 what's the name? Hey, 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 what's the name? Hey, hey, hey. Ah! What's the name? Hey, hey. Oh, can I pull this out a little bit? That's a little better. Frutate. Frutate. What's the name? Hey, 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 what's the name? Hey, hey, hey. Ah! Hey, 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 what's the name? Hey, 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 what's the name? I know, I'm doing so much of this. It feels like I'm doing so much of the same thing. I swear I'm not. I mean, kinda, but kinda not. Oh. Oh, it's hiding in the blue. This is kinda Leah's theme song, actually. Fun fact. Oops. I'm home, gonna watch that Nintendo Direct earlier. Good luck with the stream. Thank you so much! You have a good one! Thanks for showing up! My tracking did not pick that up at all. Oh, you suck. Alright. Ew, my phone is sticky. 10 minutes? Gotta be like one of the last points, right? Like, dang. Okay, let's go ahead and save, because I realize I haven't saved the entire stream. And it's time to set up our physics. Okay. Okay, so actually, I need to check. Med time. My med. There it is. On Windows 11. Seriously. And then, obviously, I can set my output to whatever I want. So, first thing we have L here. Physics. Obviously, I'm gonna play around with this. So, the input for the physics is gonna be angle XYZ and okay. All by angle. So Okay, oh. Hold on. Let's start with one.
There's a distance between us. It's getting hard to reach out. Haven't
Okay.
seen you in seasons, but all I hear is your voice. I know my limits. You can break me down, but I'll stay
Then we add
to the finish.
Pure Physics 2.
And I've been counting minutes for quite some time now, just to see you again. And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been finding ways to get away, to see you again, see you again.
And then Pure Physics 3. Do start at 50. Yeah, we're gonna
We got millions of reasons to let it all go. Hope we're not too broken,
Yay!
not always strong.
Oh dang, my battery's already dying on my iPhone.
Counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been finding ways to get away, to see you again, see you again.
I I love it. Let's turn it down just a little bit. Let's turn the shaking down just a little bit. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we got the ear physics. So the next thing I have to do is ear rotate. Why did I close out of the stepping tool? Ah! What was this? What was this? Hydrate. Ear L rotate. We want to do it on the I think it's brow LY. Set that to 50. We want to do mouth X. 50 and then angle Z. Select reflect. Position 100. I didn't take a screenshot of the shaking transition. Okay, we've got shaking of 8, reaction time of 0.4, and a convergence of 1.5. And then we obviously bring in your L rotate. That's actually, I'm gonna cry. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Oh my god, it's actually so cute. Okay, then we have the ear turn. L ear turn. We're gonna add angle X, ear rotation L, and ear physics L1. This will be angle, this will be angle, that'll be position X. This will be set to 50, this will be 50, this will be 10. Pendulum, duration of 5, 0.88, reaction time is good, convergence of 0.6. Then we add our air turn L. And then output. I think it's a little. Actually, oh my god! Oh my god! my gosh. Discord! Then L ear X. Then we'll do angle X. The angle will be set to 100. 10.95. 0.81. What parameter? Output your turn L. Is that all of the ear? Group editing. Hold on. Sorry, I have to make sure it's ordered a certain way. So for the group editing, we have your turn L needs to be above that, and then your X be above your below your turn. Ear rotate above ear turn, and ear physics is under rotate. So now what we can do copy I need to make sure I have copy paste. And then we need to do R ear X Y. Okay. Now that we can do that, I can reflect it. And then I should just be able to delete that. She looks like a bat. Okay. Then we have the right ear. Change your turn R. Full. Change your rotation R. Full. Change XR1. Full. 2. Cool. Physics. R3. Cool. Cool. And then an ear rotation that already has interpolation. Cool. That's set. So now all I do, we take, rotate, duplicate, hit the right ear rotation, R, I think I want to reflect it. Oh my god! Calm down, Neo. Calm down. You're not about to cry over fucking ears. Your physics. Okay. R, your turn. Your rotation. R, your physics. R1, your turn. Oh, my phone is dying. Oh, I also need the test. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Alright. Okay. I want that to be more effective. Of my ears. Okay. So if my brows are up, her ears perk up. And her ears go down when she's, you know, angry. Happy? Or Curious Iggy. Curious Iggy. Curious Iggy. Grr. Grr. Oh. Oh. Grr. Oh, I love it. I love these ears. I'm so happy with them. Oh. I love how wobbly they are. I love her ears so much. Those are the best ears I've ever rigged. Oh my god. So now we have I still have to fine tune the X and Y, but it's fine. Oh my gosh! She is literally to die for. I would kill for her. Time is it? Oh shit. Oh. Oh hi! Look, it's like Oh. Oh hi! Oh ew, ew. It's me. I forgot I was streaming my whole screen. Closet. My closet. I think I'm gonna end off, but I think we're gonna raid somebody I haven't raided before. Somebody small. Is that Koyo? Skellies in my closet. Ooh, what is this? Hayara Akiviti. Why is that name familiar? I know I've never rated them. We got so much done. Oh my god, I love the ears so much. They're gonna be so much better than just this. Oh, I need to also make it so that whenever I blink, see how my ears wag a little bit whenever I blink. But yeah, we're gonna raid off on this person because I saw their art and went, ooh, that's tasteful. But yeah, hope you all had a good one. I will see you next time, which will probably be this weekend. You all have wrong panel. A good one. Bye-bye.